All right, there's some light right there. My thing, my thing was at 23, right? I plugged it up to the usual thing to charge it. It went down to 3%. I was like, are you kidding me? They doing too much. They doing the most. That's a good little workout though. Should throw a banana up in this piece. That Zao. I know I stopped using this before. I mean, it was good, but I'm gonna go ahead and look it back up and see if they got changed the ingredients a little bit. It was good, you know what I'm saying? I had it on the res, but I stopped using it. I started eating all that fried bread. Well, that's the worst thing I could ever do. You start eating fried bread. Man, eating 3 and 4 pieces of that stuff a day, big mistake.
That stuff filled me up too fast.
But I was eating 3 to 4 pieces a day. I'm not talking about like 1 year. Oh yeah, that's all. It's got that. Should throw a little cinnamon in there. Yeah, that's good. Threw a little cinnamon in there, I'd have been banging. Today's Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Okay. No music, just let them come on in. If they ain't sleep or. So we won't see the. Look at this. They still jetting lines just because they don't win, so they know it's coming down. She just locked the door, didn't she?
I got my key.
Okay. Unbelievable. This is all the more reason to have missiles to shoot these things down. It's a terroristic act. You know, it's not that people haven't built them. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is ridiculous. I mean, they always lie about everything. I'm not gonna build one. They're easy to build too. I need to. I only got that warning. All them years, I rewrite fake history, classical periods of time that didn't even exist the way they wrote it. It's unbelievable. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Sage? What's cracking? What's cracking, bro? What's happening? Mahola, what's happening? What's going on, brother? They just think they could just fly all over our land. And they probably got people believing, oh, they ain't theirs. We brought them here too. They didn't bring us anywhere. They're brand new.
Only because we ain't smacked them upside the head yet.
Exactly. Well, when I hit a stop, that's not how it works. Let them keep doing their little sick little whatever it is they do. Right? I'm not playing no music because I got to get into reading this because I'm the sun's gazing all day and there is a little thing that comes with it where it's kind of hard to read small print. Um, Even though I do the eye access, it's just the way it is. Now tomorrow it'd be different. I'd be like, ooh, I see everything, you know. But I actually, I mean, I see a lot better. ever since I've been sun gazing, even with them disrupting what y'all call the sun. All right. Just gonna read a little bit just to give you a little introduction. Okay. Um, the original one. Did I order that one? I have another one, but I want to order this kind of binary copy of the original one because this is a rewrite, a literal a literal trans translation. It's got some twists and turns and ups and downs, but the Book of the Dead wasn't about death and its origin. It was about balance, harmony, frequency, and living. But I'm not here to disrupt. I'm going to read so you can hear for yourself how foolish these individuals are. Okay? Because a lot of y'all know people with Masons and this, that, and this from here and there, and they profess and this, that, and the other. And I'd be like looking at them when they're talking about the emerald tablets and the Book of the Dead, and I'd be laughing. I'd be like, these kiddos are completely mind vaped. You know what I mean? And thank you for the super chats in the last one. I appreciate it. I finally got my America First Zelle work, but there's a QR code. I don't know. So I could put the screen and it would go right, but I'm not going to do all that. Probably be better that way. But yeah, you could bypass Cashapp, but I'm not going to do that. Dev D, what's going on? What's happening? Knucklehead TV, what's cracking? You guys must have been working today. Yeah, I had it live earlier. If y'all saw it, I hope you enjoyed it. You know what I mean? We was over here digging in the hole. We only got a little bit left, y'all. And then we'll start leveling and getting everything the way we need it to be. Oh, they're messing with the lighting. Oh, there you go. YouTube, phone. Unbelievable. They can't help themselves, right? Big old bright light. Y'all saw me, right? And then you saw it just, if you still see me, cool. They can't help themselves. You know what I mean? No control whatsoever. That's why I'm enjoying this. Because they're never going to show control. They don't have none. Anyway, we're going to be getting into the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, this is a rewrite. This is a retransliteration. Translated by E.A. Wallace Budge. Fake name. But you can look him up. Okay? Everybody wants to get $1 if they pay to do these things. We're going to start right from the very beginning. All right? For those who don't know. There's a lot to it, y'all. A whole lot. Yet, we're not here for all that. I might have to get my flashlight. Let me get my little flashlight, guys. Though I can see it, it's kind of, that's very dim light.
Goodness. I should be sitting my butt down and roll the blunt.
take the lantern. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Oh. I don't have the little round one, you know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. Lantern's in the corner. It's fully charged, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. I put it up. I felt it coming, man. I was like, here it comes. Oh, ooh-wee. It's definitely about that time. I was gonna break up my college light, you know. One of my emergency chargers from college. You know, frogs. It's really. I had it for a long time. It's choice. You know what I mean? Okay. Let me do this so I can go ahead and smoke me a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? A little medicine after about, I don't know, hours worth of work. But you got one? What was the cut? Was it a fly?
Fly?
I thought I heard you. Thought you was killing something. Excuse my language.
All
right, so let's get into an introduction. And I'm going to read this because it keeps it in tune with what we're going to be reading in this book. To set the Egyptian book of the dead. Who else came in? Right. Anyone else come in? They can't stop, don't stop, boy. I know, beloved. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? It's great. You know what I mean? So anyway, to set the Egyptian book of the dead in its wider context, we need to remember that the civilization of ancient Egypt, the Egypt of the pharaohs, endured for well over 3,000 years before it came to an end. With its annexation for well over 3,000 years before it came to an end, remember that, with its annexation by Rome in around 30 BC. Periods of political strife and upheaval were balanced by times of peace and prosperity. Sounds familiar? The most significant of which coincided with the periods known as the Old Kingdom, 2650 to 2152 BC. Now, before the Common Era, for those who don't know, it's not before Christ. The Middle Kingdom, up into the Middle Kingdom, which was 1986 to 1759, sounds familiar? BC. And the New Kingdom, 1539 to 1069. Now, it was during the New Kingdom that the Book of the Dead, as we now know, it emerged. But the ideas and beliefs expressed in it had gradually evolved over the preceding 2,000 years or longer, shaped by a combination of the Egyptians' experience of everyday life. Excuse me. Now, the landscape in which they lived and historical events, I know that's just, but it is what it is. The annual flooding of the Nile, on which the fertility of the land bordering the great river depended, and the orbital movement of the sun. Now, any of y'all have really been paying attention, you are much aware that there's fallacies. Why? Because we know that the Mississippi has the several port outs. The Nile, which I've been down numerous times, does not. All right? And that's a fact. The annual flooding of the Nile, in which the fertility of the land bordering the great river depended, and the orbital movement of the sun, moon, and stars, as you know, those are not stars, led to the belief that life followed a recurring cyclical pattern. Moreover, the universe appeared to be governed by an eternal cosmic order, Ma'at, within which everything had its rightful place, even human life. Now, whose principal phases of birth youth, parenthood, old age, and death were compressed into a lifespan of about 35 years was an integral part of this cosmic order. Like other ancient civilizations, the Egyptians expressed their beliefs through myths in which the exploits of the gods personified both visible phenomena and the invisible forces that drove the cyclical patterns governing the universe. Now, the myths and the religion they inspired underwent a considerable evolution. Who remembers what I stated when religion was created? Do you see how easy it is to catch them off guard? The myth and the religion they inspired underwent a considerable evolution in the millennia. Prior to the emergence, you see the reversal? Emergence of the Book of the Dead, influenced partly by shifts in regional power and partly by the priests who attended to the temples and cult centers in cities up and down the Nile. However, two elements remain constant: the prominence of the various gods associated with the sun. For example, Ra, Horus, and Aten. That would be a good time to open up the Anunnaki, the book, say, the war and all that, right? Aten. Aten Khan, Tutankhamun, Aten, right. And the central role of the king of pharaohs. Now the latter made offerings to the gods on behalf of his subjects, and the gods reciprocated by giving life to the pharaoh and his people. According to the Book of the Dead, a similar reciprocal arrangement was believed to sustain the life of the deceased after his or her entombment. That would always be saying that the life or the source or what they've been wanting to harvest and didn't exist, wouldn't it? The soul, the spirit, right? Didn't they say about the coins and how much gold, feather, weight as far as what you have? You travel across, which is not how it works. Anyway, deceased after his or her entombment. Anyway, of the many myths left behind by the ancient Egyptians, as they stated in myths, there is one that is particularly relevant for the Book of the Dead: the myth of Osiris. The full myth is quite lengthy, but its principal elements are as follows. And in those of you who have read the Book of Gilgamesh and Nimrod, you might find this interesting. The full myth is quite lengthy, but its principal elements are as follows. The sky goddess Nut, and the earth god with one T, and the earth god Geb, had 4 children, 2 sons, Osiris and Set, and 2 daughters, Isis and Nephthys. The brothers married their sisters. Osiris married Isis, and Set married Nephthys. And Osiris, as firstborn son, succeeded his father to the throne of Egypt. He ruled the primitive Egyptians with kindness and educated them, thus laying the foundations of the great civilizations they were to become. Set grew jealous of Osiris and murdered him, dismembered his brother's body, scattered the pieces across Egypt, and seated himself on the throne. Now Isis, with the help of her sister Nephthys and the gods of Anubis and Thoth, located the pieces of her husband, gathered them together, and mummified his body, thus restoring him to life. Now there was one piece missing, and that's the phallus, as they articulate in the original writings. Rather than return to earth, however, Osiris became the eternal ruler of the realm of the afterlife, the netherworld, or Duat. Meanwhile, Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, avenged his father by defeating Set and becoming king in his father's place. From then on, the living pharaoh of Egypt embodied the spirit of Horus, while his deceased father became a new Osiris. Now, I was going to dig out a few books to read along with this to enlighten you a little further, but I don't think there's no need. I think in the facility of all your confirmation that you're starting to have a deeper understanding and see things a little different from how they painted it. Because most of the people that write these books, other than the Masonic and at the lower of the pyramid, are directed and guided to write it as such. Yet, for entertainment purpose, we're going to continue to read on. Because I know there's a lot of people that you've listened to who've convinced you to believe in this willy lump exploration of false divinity. Now, it doesn't dismiss the existence of some things, but it sure keeps you in the loop. A reprobate mind that doesn't actually find anything, because then we lean to this instead of leaning into our own understanding. Now, the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead grew out of a long tradition of funerary texts, the first examples of which are known as the pyramid texts, because they were written on the walls of the burial chambers in the pyramids of the pharaohs of the Old Kingdom, not in over there, because that's not what it is. There's so much more underneath. All right? And those are not burial chambers. The earliest known example was discovered in the pyramid of King Unas at Saqqara and dates from around 2345 BC. The purpose of the pyramid text was to help the deceased pharaoh take his place among the gods. And to this end, they included hymns, prayers, and magical spells to ward off the dangers encountered in the afterlife. Now, initially, they were exclusively for royal use, but in the declining years of the Old Kingdom, the right to use them was assumed by regional governors and other high-ranking officials, for they too wished to become identified with Osiris, who lived on as a ruler of the netherworld. All right, Osiris. You know, the dog head, whatever. A new corpus of funerary texts. Isn't it funny? A lot of the animals they utilize in these gods are only significant to so-called America. I call Athriel, who lived on as ruler of the netherworld. A new corpus of funerary texts emerged during the Middle Kingdom, the coffin texts, which, as their name implies, were written on the inner surfaces of wooden coffins. These texts included spells drawn from the pyramid text, plus many new compositions. Sheesh. Some of them also included illustrations. When coffins changed from rectangular wooden boxes to a shape that followed the contours of the mummified body, the texts were written on a papyrus, which was rolled up and placed in the coffin with the deceased. Now, many thousands of these papyri were produced during the New Kingdom, by which time the Book of the Dead had passed into widespread use. The title, Book of the Dead, was first coined in 1842 by Richard Lepsius, the German Egyptologist. They had to change and fool everybody, right? Keep you away from your truth as they embarked on digging up all your lands and finding many things after the death of so many, coined off on fake treaties and everything else. There wasn't no Mongols and this, that, and other. Well, there was a period for them, but not here. Not as you've come to know it. Suggests that a more appropriate title would be spells for coming forth by day. All right, so when you look at it, 1842 by Richard Lepsius, the German Egyptologist, but it has been suggested that a more appropriate title would be spells for coming forth by day. For its purpose was to enable the deceased to emerge safely from the tomb in a perfected, spiritualized form. Nowadays, the term Book of the Dead usually refers to the entire corpus of almost 200 chapters or spells, from which a selection was made for inclusion in individual papyri. Although the format for presenting the selected chapters became more or less standardized, the order in which they were arranged varied from one papyrus to another. Coming forth by day. The ancient Egyptians believed that the individual human being was a compound of several elements. The HERU, meaning mode or manifestation of human existence, which disintegrated at death. These elements included the physical body, Khat, the heart, Ib, believed to be the seat of the mind or intelligence, as I stated. There's truth there. The name, Rin, which constituted the individuality of the deceased and was thus essential for his or her continual existence in the afterlife, and the shadow, or the shut, which was also related to the individuality of the deceased but was able to separate itself from the body and enjoy independent freedom of movement. Now, the life force or spirit, the Ka, Ki, Chi, right? The breath, Hawa, right? Hawa, okay? Which remained in the tomb with the body of the deceased and was nourished with a constant supply of offerings. The soul or spirit, Ba, depicted in vignettes as a small bird with a human head, which was free to visit the world of the living during the day, returning to the tomb at sunset. Now, the disintegration of these diverse elements was prevented through the mummification of the body, a process by which the deceased was transformed into a divine or spiritual form known as the Sa. It's not getting too bad. A couple of nights, man. It's been cold around this time. When the mummy was placed in the tomb, it was believed to enter the Dua, or netherworld, where it underwent two ceremonial rituals, the weighing of the heart and the opening of the mouth. Yeah, I said feather in the heart, right. The first of these was a form of judgment of the life of the deceased, whereby his or her heart was placed in a scale and weighed against a feather, symbolizing Ma'at. The ceremony was supervised by the jackal-headed Anubis and the ibis-headed Thoth, who wrote down the outcome. If the heart passed this test, the deceased would continue their passage through the Dua. If it failed, it was eaten by Amit, the devourer. The second ritual, which was performed by a priest, involved touching the facial covering of the mummy with one or more ceremonial instruments. Nose was itching, excuse me. Okay. Back is sore now. Thereby unstopping the mouth, eyes, ears, and nostrils of the deceased so that they regain the use of these faculties. The opening of the mouth was of great importance since it enabled the deceased to recite the hymns and prayers written on the papyrus. It also enabled them to address by name the gods it would encounter in the dua and respond correctly to their questioning. Other items placed in the tomb with the mummy included the canopic jars, which contain the preserved eternal organs of the deceased, a supply of offerings for the gods, and the ka, the several small figures, I think the Shaptis, whose functions was to help the deceased perform laborious tasks in the afterlife, such as plowing the land in the fields of peace and reeds. If the deceased followed the instructions on the papyrus and recited its hymns and spells, they will become an Ak, a blessed spirit. And leaving the mummy in the tomb, they would join the gods Osiris and Ra. The Papyrus of Ani. The Papyrus of Ani, or Ani, which dates from around 1275 BC, was found at Thebes and purchased by the British Museum in 1888. Ani was overseer of the double granary of the Lord of Tawa, and his wife Thatu, or Tutu, was a chantress in the Temple of Amun. His papyrus is one of the longest known manuscripts of the Book of the Dead, measuring 23.5 meters, 77 feet in length, and contains over 60 chapters of spells. Many of these chapters are illustrated with richly colored vignettes
colored vignettes depicting the various stages of Annie's journey through the duat towards the paradisial field of reeds. Now, the majority of the text is written in black ink, while red ink is used for chapter headings and the instructions rubrics to be followed by the deceased. Now, the papyrus begins with Annie, accompanied by his wife, accompanied by his wife, offering praise to the sun god Ra and to Osiris, lord and ruler of the Duat. Subsequent vignettes show the ceremonies of the weighing of the heart and the opening of the mouth. Now, Anai's funeral procession and the placing of his mummified body in the tomb, and his meetings with various gods in the course of his journey through the Duat. Now, the papyrus culminates with Anai's arrival in the fields of peace or reeds. Now, some of these things are pronounced the way I'm just doing that so you can have a clearer understanding. The translation of the papyrus of Annie presented in the following pages is by E.A. Wallace Budge, keeper of the Department of Egyptian and Assyrian Antiquities from 1894 to 1924, as well as enlarging the museum's Egyptian collections. Budge wrote many books that did much to stimulate popular interest in ancient Egypt. His translation of the Papyrus of Annie, which was published under the title of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, included many variant chapters from other manuscripts and numerous appendices, all of which have been omitted in this edition. He also inserted copious footnotes, some of which have been retained in shortened form alongside a few new ones. John Bullock. And next, we will be getting into plate 1. Now, I just wanted to bring this to fruition so that way we can go ahead. And at one time, remember when I was in Page, I didn't want to read this. And I decided after texting back and forth, right, that I would go ahead and read it to you guys. So we'll be getting into that tomorrow, all right? We'll be going through and we'll be dealing with plate 1, okay, which is a few chapters, okay? And y'all may find this interesting, okay? And I hope you'll enjoy the little reading and share it with people and everything else. And all the other readings won't stop, okay? Because I'm definitely excited for more great readings today. I appreciate you, Dad. What's going on? Yeah, I missed the line earlier. Gotta work, unfortunately. Nah, you ain't gotta explain nothing, beloved. It's always there, bro. Enjoy. Sit back, pop on headphones and listen and check it out. You dig what I'm saying? I have the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Interested to see how they differ. I have that as well. You know what I mean? But I appreciate y'all coming in. And it's I guess, what time is it? It is 6:30. So as you see, and the moon will probably be coming up around 11 or 12, maybe.
It's about 9:30 last night.
It was up all day, right over there, way over there, out of context, way out of place. I ain't used to it being way over there. It's usually way right there. It was way over there. You know what I mean? Been getting a lot of moving stars lately too. Not stars, but you know what I mean. Moving lights that move and stop. Sit there. Move and stop. Sit there. All right? Maybe it's projection. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Red Hunter, I'm over here so confused. Like, how is it dark? It's been a lot of activity up here in New Jersey. Yo, man, I know they've been hey, Deb, yo, I saw the video, but I want to ask you because in the summertime, I heard many people expressing it's real that some of those new lights they were installing was spraying mist and people were sitting there going, "What are they spraying?" And then they had this in the summer. Remember when they had the mosquito trucks coming by? But then you got to watch the video, and they put it all over TikTok too, right?
China style.
Of the helicopters releasing Bill Gates or whoever it was mosquitoes for whatever purpose that they die. I'm just throwing it around there. It's been a lot of so if you know what I'm talking about, it's kind of crazy if you ask me, you know. Right, man. They're gonna fight wars everywhere, and they need our numbers so small. So much spraying over here. People was getting sick oh man, look at that, bro. And you would think that people would stop arguing about liberal politics, but you know how that goes. Kind of vegan, plant-based protein powder, guys. We're gonna be working out every day besides the work we're doing, so I gotta keep in shape with my younger brothers. I'm not no old dude now. Don't get it twisted. We're supposed to live a few hundred years, but you know how that goes. Before I lived here in Philly, it would be weeks on top weeks before we could see the sun. That is ridiculous. Can you use the northern lights? Can we see the northern lights out here? Actually, that way it's north. No. And whatever that was that everyone could see, that was not no northern lights. That was not no aurora borealis, northern lights, or anything, which that is Antarctica, but that was not no northern lights. But I'm not here to get into that, you know what I'm saying? But no, we cannot. We're we're in southern Arizona. Not that, how far are we from the border?
About an hour.
About an hour from Mexico. And how far are we from the ocean? The Gulf.
Wherever crossing into Mexico is, there's that beach you were talking about.
Oh yeah. So But I'm about to spit on myself. That is so nasty. Anyway, I miss. Anyway, I miss me. I thought I hit me. But yeah, we can't see that here. I've seen it numerous times out at sea, and when I was overseas. My apologies. I'm about to go lay down, y'all. Y'all have any questions or anything as far as that goes? The Tibetan Book of the Dead is pretty freaking awesome. Yet, I know more you're becoming more, because you inquire, right? I know it's becoming more relevant to you that everything that they put out, based on the time of writing, is to mislead and misguide. Okay, they have people running around Halloween, right? Dressed as witches and this, that, and the other. That is only further elaboration based on Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, Vincent Price, and blah, 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 to exude death and to illuminate it, actually. And the further put you in fear and toxify you based on religious context to keep you away from what you're truly capable. That's why I was reading about DMT and psychedelics and all that other stuff, and the fact of them using in the 60s synthetic forms as well as ayahuasca and stuff like that, to get you to stop being afraid. And you don't have to be so worried about what may come or happen. When you start to realize that your physical existence could not be without your source, and you realize that your source is more powerful than anything here, the sun, the moon, even the earth. When you start to realize that, maybe some of you will stop entertaining the abstracts of, oh, I can't stand it no more. I'm alone. Or this and that, and I don't know if I can do it anymore. And those are frequencies. You're being controlled unknowingly and unwittingly. hypothetically, in my opinion. And when you come into your truth, when you start accepting that you are more than a name, a number, then you can start processing things a little different. You get what I'm saying? There they go, y'all. Was hiding the views again. They got it at 5, and I know good and well there's more than that in there. They are so comical. I was interested in that book. I was dozing off. Oh, it's cool. Yeah, no. I'm going to be, like I said, the next part is going to be pretty interesting, and it gets a little. Excuse me, I'm tired. It becomes a little. Some things become a little more relevant because y'all have been following and paying attention to some of the things I've read and others, because there's plenty out there who have been talking about a lot of things, and some things will become relevant. A lot of you hear that 1800 and 17, it's always starting there, isn't it? And then you look at the individuals, and then you realize the conspiracy is real. Okay? And then, with realizing that it's real, you start to see things differently. Okay? And stop using that word woke. We woke now. I'm awake now. Don't do that. Stop. Okay? You don't. That's ego. That's ego rearing its ugly head. Egotistic, egoic. That's, you really don't want to do that. And it's the unlearned mind that permits and permeates and allows that. I hate wokes. You don't have to hate it, but you get what I'm saying. You don't have to throw it all over. How they say it? The palette. You don't have to to scrape it off the palette and then put it all over the canvas. You know what I mean? I actually, exactly. Real recognize. I used to say to people, like, why you keep talking about you woke? You was the most comatose, going way out. That's where the fun is, way out. The Jetsons, you know what I mean? Like relax, cuz. Barney, you know what I'm saying? Like, go and play with, what was that purple dinosaur? I love you. Barney.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta be in fantasy land. We don't have to stroke. You know what I'm saying? We don't. like, stay away from the crowd and the gathering circles. You know what happens when they start drifting? Somebody always gets hit. You know what I mean? So, trying to be the center of attention and who's got the gonads, and that's one of the worst things. So like woke now, there's no such thing as woke. That's. Remember the government pushed it. How many of y'all know about the government pushing it? Well, y'all stop flying all over me, moths. I'm cool, man. Y'all just, the bird gonna get you at the bat, one or the other. I can't save you, man. That's not. I mean, that'd be nice. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't have to beat me up. Like woke. We woke now. I'm awake. What you been doing all day? If you gonna claim that you woke now, you can't make this stuff up. But you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. I just wanted to keep it short, for about 45 minutes, and I'll see y'all in the AM. We can get back into the groove of things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going here and get my thermal top and my PJs, and hopefully that dang old thing started. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even cook nothing tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. Oh well. Anyway, I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow AM. All right, probably be about 8 or 9. I don't know. And we gotta finish digging that out. It's gonna be nice again tomorrow, and we'll show you what we got. We got to get some screws that we keep forgetting every time we go out to tighten up the frame, and then we all got to come together about the covering. I prefer the whiter one, but the green one, or they have something that's best for light as far as the greenhouse. But y'all, we will show you when we get it in the hole and we start planking, and we're gonna make sure it's raised a little bit. But we still gotta level it out, and we'll show you that. And then somewhere around next weekend, we will be digging holes, mortar and concrete, blah, 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 making sure we got stability. We got to get the geographical survey. We need that, bro. All right. And so we can show you as we after we get the deck, before we lay down the paneling. That way you can say, oh, wow. You know what I mean? And be nice to have you out here. Gomek talking about us helping him paint stuff, paying and all that. Yet we need to build as well. And when we're having downtime is when we'll involve ourselves going out on certain occasions to go ahead and get a lot of work done with our brother and his wife. So we all agreed upon that, right, guys? So, T, you sleep already, brother? Oh, okay. T, you getting them Z's. I'm about to take it down. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all, beloved sisters. You know what it is, brothers. All right, and I'll see y'all in the AM. Okay. Y'all have a wonderful evening.